album, and how was to collaborate with Yossi from Orphaned Land?
Well, I have to say that Orphaned Land was one of the greatest inspirations, like for Yevgeny, who is like composing all the music. And I remember, like, after we released our first EP, Sputnik, we just wrote to the guys from Orphaned Land and just to say thank you for the inspiration and blah blah blah. And Yossi replied, and actually we wrote them that we would like to send them CDs, just simply like as a gift. And he gave us his address and we sent him the CD. He liked it. And he just said, you know, maybe out of politeness, but he just said that he will be glad to record something with us one day. And then Yevgeny wrote like a perfect song because Yossi plays this instrument that is called buzukitar.
Yeah.
It's like, it has...
The Greek one.
Well, buzuki is a Greek, you know, and guitar is like his unique instrument that is like a mixture of an electric guitar and buzuki. So he invented like this instrument. And then we just had like Petrichor was the song that we just sent to him and said, like, this would be cool. It would be cool if you record this melody on buzuki. And he also played the electric guitar solo. And actually, that's it. So we didn't ever meet in person.
Okay.
And also a very sad part for us is that when we were recording Petrichor and recording the album, he was a part of Orphaned Land. But then he left just before we released this album. So I mean, you know, marketing-wise, we didn't get the coverage that we could get if he was still a part of Orphaned Land. But in any case, a couple of years after Orphaned Land came to Kiev, and we played as an opening act with them, and it was a great concert. I mean, we enjoyed it a lot, and they are great musicians with great energy, and I hope that we will share the stage once again sometime.
Yeah, it's a great band. Yeah. I've seen here in Dublin a few years ago.
I saw them twice. The one time it was amazing when they opened for Blind Guardian, and the second time it was a bit less as the stage was smaller and wow.
And in Belgium, yes, in Belgium, in a festival. Yeah.
I'm in the Netherlands twice in the Netherlands, but it's a great band with a Middle Eastern touch. That's, I think, the reason. I don't know. I sometimes think IGNEA and Middle Eastern touch.
Well, Orphaned Lands, they are considered, you know, one of the fathers of this genre. So they were one of the first bands to actually, you know, mix Middle Eastern melodies and metal.
Interesting. So that's where I started from then, and then I went to IGNEA. So, and then when we are talking about IGNEA, I saw you have a song, I didn't speak Ukraine, so it's Chorne Polumia.
Chorne Polumia.
From your latest album, Realms of Death, and it's the first time that IGNEA creates a song in their modern tongue. So I'm wondering why now, and how did it feel?
We just Yevgeny had this song, and you know, like I said, sometimes he just has this idea what this song is going to be about, and maybe he has some idea about, you know, how it should sound like in terms of vocals. And I don't know, we just felt that this song should be in Ukrainian. So there was nothing on purpose. We just did it. And also his idea was to use a lot of archaic Ukrainian words. So if you listen to, like, if our fellow Ukrainians listen to this song, there are a lot of words that we don't use in our everyday life anymore. And that makes it maybe a little bit more, you know, folkish, but not in terms of music, but in terms of like the lyrics and everything. And it felt really good. It felt weird, you know, singing and especially growling in Ukrainian, because to be honest, like, I'm not a fan of Ukrainian language when it comes to metal. I don't know why. And Yevgeny as well, we just don't hear Ukrainian correlating with metal. But it's like, it's individual perception of every person. But for this song, it was like 100% we're doing it in Ukrainian, and we're, to our surprise, like we had a great feedback about this song, and we are actually even a little bit sad that we didn't make a music video for this song, because it's one of the top songs on the album in terms of listens. And we also have like this English version of this song. It is like a bonus track. Also very interesting that some people, they think that these are two different songs. I don't know how, but I don't know, maybe they forget when they're streaming the album from the second song to the last song, maybe they forget it, but yes, but mostly people love the Ukrainian version of this song, and I'm really excited about it. And I also can say that it was easier to sing it, like in terms of, hitting the notes and everything, because Ukrainian language has very open vowels. So, I mean, we have this ah and o, and in English language, you have like this so I don't know, the word purpose, it's harder to sing it in any case than, to say Chorne Polumia and something like that. So it's easier. Maybe that's why the voice, it really sounds a bit different on this song. So I can hear it as well.
To be honest, like now you're mentioning, I don't know if I have the bonus CD, but I never thought there would be like an English version. But for me, the Ukrainian was like, it really stood out of the whole album. And I think I was drawn to this. It was fresh and so on. So I loved the Ukraine song. But problem is only that my devices make like question marks when these songs come up. So it's the question mark song for me.
I don't know. Well,
yeah, it just can't read any Ukrainian language, apparently, my devices. So I'm wondering, will there be any other Ukrainian, will you sing in Ukrainian for the next album, or maybe in the future?
I guess that again, we won't be doing it on purpose, but because of like all this great feedback that we got, and because I really enjoyed writing lyrics and singing in Ukrainian, I'm more than sure that we're going to have some other songs in Ukrainian, but English is going to be still our main language, because it's even easier for me to, write lyrics in English as well.
Yeah, and then every song will be question marks. Oh.
Yes. Well, I guess that it really depends on the device, because I guess that some people sent us the screenshots and everything was all right. So, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. So what is the meaning of this song?
Chorne Polumia. It is translated like black flame.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I put the Ukrainian.
So it's your tattoo, Helle.
Yeah. So
yes.
Here.
I have the question, yes, about, let's do this question. Yeah, so I think you have this black flame. So is there any meaning of this tattoo? And you have many tattoos, as I can see, so...
Not that many, I want more. So actually, this song is quite old. Well, it's like 2 years old or 3 years old right now. And we were, as well as Queen Dies, and they are also going together because it's like, it is one story. They're combined in one story. And we were playing it live for 2 years so far, I guess. So I remember when we had like this Chorne Polumia and Black Flame idea of the song, and we wrote this song, we actually wanted to make an album called Black Flame.
Okay.
Yes, and we even came up with the idea like of the album cover, and this song, I don't know, I was really captivated by this song, and it has a very deep meaning for me, because like this song is about like truth, and like the main idea is that everything fake should be burned by the black flame. Like if you read the lyrics to the English version, like which is Black Flame, it's basically the translation of Chorne Polumia. So you can understand everything that this Ukrainian song is about. So, and back then I really made this tattoo, which is actually related like to the song and to the meaning of this song. And, but then before we managed to even start recording the album, there was another metal band. I don't remember its name, but it plays something metalcore, I believe. And they released an album called Black Flame. And they even had a very similar artwork that we were supposed to make.
Okay.
And for me, it was like I was crushed because, okay, can you imagine? Like I already have a tattoo
Yes.
and all the things. And for me, it was like, damn it. But then, I don't know, everything ended up very well because right now I am more, I think that like the concept that we came up and the title that we did in the end is really more meaningful, more grown up, and more interesting than simply a black flame. So Black Flame is great as a part of the entire story, but not as it is like on its own.
Okay. How many tattoos you have?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6.
Okay.
So not that much. So
It's good, it's good. And how many years you did?
not so many. Well, my first one was, I guess, 8 years ago, something like that. But I never rush with my tattoos. So I always take some time to see if I really want to do it, because again, it's forever. And I always I already have like a tattoo artist that I'm collaborating with, like that I'm doing tattoos with, because she's like, we're on the same wave and she does great art. But, you know, before her, I was always taking some time to understand whether I really want like this tattoo, whether this tattoo artist is really suitable. So it's not like, you know, some people just say, okay, I have this idea and I'm going, I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
So that's why I have a lot of ideas of what I would like to do, but I need to think everything through. And also, I guess that I'm doing like 1 tattoo a year or something like that.
Okay.
So maybe at the end of this year.
one more.
Yeah.
Good, good.
And in 20 years, 20 plus, so 26 tattoos.
We'll see. We'll see. Like one of the tattoos that I have is like here on my ear, and it's very small, and it's like just instead of piercing. So, but it's also a tattoo. It's a very small one.
It was painful?
Yes, but it was actually my first tattoo, and it's maybe the most meaningless that I have. And I don't know, again, it was like, back then it was one of my friends who just came to my place and he did it, and that's it.
Oh.
I guess that every tattoo is painful to some extent, but I really love the process.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I think that we should suffer through our tattoos, because otherwise I don't understand people who, you know, I don't know how to say it, but they have some injections to make it less painful. Painkillers, they use painkillers, and I'm like, I don't know, it's a strange thing to do. If you do
When you have a tattoo, you have a tattoo, you know, you have to feel the pain.
Yeah, but it
No
depends.
pain or gain. So,
Yeah, it really depends on the place where you're doing it, because I have one on my back and it was the most painful that I had, because it's very close to the spine and everything.
Oh.
So
here was very painful for me. Here is very painful.
yeah, I guess that here, like also for me, it's very, you know, sensitive skin for everybody. So it was also not the best place to do it.
Let's move to a
When you are going to have a tattoo?
no, it's like it hurts. I don't want it. Like, no, I don't want needles. So let's go to a happier topic for me. about IGNEA, back to IGNEA. So you came up with a book. I don't have the book, so I'm wondering if you could show or describe the book and how you put it together.
So this book, just one moment.
So a quick cooling break for people,
yes,
or not?
cooling break.
So this is actually this book, and it has a lot of illustrations made by the same artist that did all the art and designs for our album, like all the merch and everything. So I mean, it's like, I guess it's even more interesting because like of all the pictures that it has, I mean, you know, it's illustrated like a very old medieval book. And actually she also used like the font that we use for the current logo. It's like actually the font of a book that was like in 17th century or something like that. So it's a very authentic font. And this book, it's really a book of very short tales, but it also, every tale incorporates the lyrics to each song. So I guess that it's something like a mixture of an extended lyric book, I'd say, something like that. So there is prose, there is also lyrics to this, to every song. And like I said, like this book is also available on Patreon, because I also understand that not everybody is able, you know, to purchase it in print. So if you join even at the smallest tier, which is like $2, you will get a digital version and also an audio version, well, where I read these tales.
Oh, amazing!
Yes.
You can listen to Helle then. Story. And then if we zoom into the book and so on, I'm wondering, I think the experience was a little bit different than writing a normal album, wasn't it?
Yeah, yes, and I really loved it a lot because I love good storytelling. I don't know if this storytelling is good, but I love when music has some stories to tell. So even if it's not a concept album, but when the song has a story behind it, if it can be a fiction story, it can be a story from real life, like everything. But I just love digging into it, and that's why I also, for me, it is always very simple to write lyrics. So rhymes, I'm very good at rhymes, like from my very childhood. And it's harder for me to write prose. And this is actually the first prose that I ever wrote. And it was harder, but it was really interesting for me. And I think that I even have now even more respect for all the authors of books, especially, you know, novels where they have all these characters and they have to build them and everything is so complicated. So in my case, it was, you know, these are more fairy tales than you know, proper prose. But I listened to some podcasts and I watched some videos on writing books, because it's like in another world. So for me, as I said, I can write a poem in 10 minutes, but I cannot write a tale.
Like, yeah, I think if you look at writing in general, you need to flesh out characters and so on. But if you are writing, you need to stick to what you wrote previously. Otherwise, it will be like a mess. It needs to be like one piece.
Yeah. So for me also, I've been writing always, and before I quit like all my freelance stuff, I was also writing for my job. But those were, you know, like not fiction, but I was working with IT content creation, and it's like more, you know, articles, maybe some more technical stuff. Yeah, so it's maybe website text, CEO text. It's an absolutely different world, because there It's more delivering information and having people understand what is happening. And here you have to really grab the attention of the reader, and you have to make him go into this world and get carried away to this world. So it's a very complicated thing to do. But at the same time, I don't know, I enjoyed it a lot. I cannot say if I do it again. I don't know.
I would say do it. It's amazing. It's something unique. I think IGNEA is the first band that captures like storytelling and having like a book with the story. I couldn't name it.
No, we're not the first one. Actually, when I was writing it, after I already wrote all these tales, one of my patrons suggested listening to Cellar Darling. They are from Switzerland, and they also made a book. So we are absolutely not the first band to do it. And
well, in my library then, what I listen like. Yeah. Maybe Lacuna Coil, but that's a different story. But like, I mean, like if I scroll to all 200 bands I'm listening and so on, no one has written a book. So, yeah. But it's like nice and quite unique. You don't see it often.
Yeah, for sure. So you spoke, Helle, about the artwork. So how is important for you the artwork? And who is the guy who did the artwork for the album? They did the same person or different?
So I can say that the latest album was the first album when we were satisfied with all the designs and all the artworks. And it was, everything was did by one person. It is an artist from Ukraine, a girl called Maria. And she also made all our videos for this album. So Queen Dies, Disenchantment, Jinnslammer, and also lyric videos for How I Hate the Night and Shaitan Akbar.
So
These are all, yeah, so she's an animator and a designer. So she does everything. And that's why also like the artwork for the album and all the merch and everything looks so organic and unique and is under one concept, which is I'm very grateful for, because before we didn't actually collaborate properly with anyone, and all the covers that were before, maybe except for Sputnik, that was also made by another Ukrainian artist, but then he moved to England and he started working, you know, with huge productions. He's now a graphic designer and he's working like, you know, with Hollywood movies. So he's unreachable right now. Yeah. So, but like the covers that we had before, we actually just purchased them online. So they were finished covers. We just thought that, okay, they were suitable and that's it. And I can say that for a band it is very important to find your team and to find everyone who is going to contribute, you know, to the visual component of the band. And I'm really grateful that we found Maria finally. Another problem is that, like, you know, she cannot do everything now because she also has other bands, other clients, and I don't know, it's hard to book her. So I guess that we should be doing it already for everything that's coming up. But yes, so she did it. She did everything. And I guess that like the visuals for this album, even sometimes I just take our CD, I take the book and I just, you know, I'm trying to go into details of every picture because there are so many, it's like, you know, art.
Yeah, but it looks like neat fitting and professional. And as we are talking about Maria, if I'm not mistaken, Ivan is also
cooling Blake.
All right, I will ask the question. You can rewatch it later. So back to my question. So Ivan is, I think, also joining with the video suits. And I was wondering, can you tell us more how collaboration started for Disenchantment and Jinnslammer?
So Ivan is actually the boyfriend and the partner of Maria. So they are working together, and he's the camera guy, and he's very good at, you know, maybe more technical stuff and filming, like the filming process. and then she does like, she is the creative mastermind, but they are like, you know, they are working together, and sometimes it's very hard to tell who is doing what. But she's doing all the animation and all the like designs and all the things. But usually, I don't know, we just have the song, and then we say that we have like this idea, or maybe that we want to film this video this way. And then usually they come back to us with absolutely other stuff. Then we film something, and half of what we filmed so far with them, it was only just black background or white background. Then they take everything to where they live, and then for half a year we don't see anything. Usually it happens like that. And then they just deliver us the video, and it's absolutely nothing that we were expecting. It's always like that. But we always love what they do. And that's why it's a perfect collaboration, because they understand our music, but they never present it in a, you know, in a direct way, so to say. So even when we had like this song Shaitana Akbar, which is a song against terrorism, and I asked MAIr to do a lyric video, my only like my only wish was not to make it, you know, not to picture terrorists or guns, because it would be very straightforward and very, you know, I don't think that we need more guns and terrorists visually in our lives.
We have enough.
Yes, and she made, like, for me, it is a perfect lyric video, because, and also, like, for me, I found another meaning in this video, because she did it in the style of Salvador Dali and Picasso, like it's more surrealistic.
Yeah.
And I think that terrorism is surrealistic. I mean, I cannot understand why it is still happening in our world. So that's why I love this lyric video a lot. And what I can say, like, you never know what to expect from her, never. But this is the greatest part for us as well.
It's like magic. You are like a child opening the box and looking what's inside.
Yes. Yeah.
Amazing. But the song Shaitana Akbar, that was the first one, well, and you're so in 2008, but that's the first song I heard about IGNEA, and indeed it was so surrealistic. But I think the video helps with your music and so on to bring it like, how did the videos help you to bring IGNEA to life? Well, we mentioned Shaitana Akbar, but do you have anything else to add?
Well, our video Alga, which is like with this symphonic orchestra, is still our most popular video, and it brought us so many listeners. Like, I guess that the fan base that we have, it's like 80% based on this video. Yeah, so, and strangely enough, we didn't even want to make this video to happen, because we didn't know anything about filming videos, and I can see it very clearly in this video. That's why none of us loves it, because we see all the mistakes that we did back then, and we are really, you know, we don't love this video, but it still works for us a lot. And again, having a background in marketing, I can say that nowadays visual stuff is super important for every band, and we are still searching for this visual part of IGNEA. And maybe only with the latest videos we started finding, you know, something that represents our music, but still there is a lot to improve and a lot of space to grow.
Yeah, but like, well, bad or good, like Alga gained like 5 million in
yeah, it's almost 6 million right now, and I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, they're still growing there.
It's very strange, but okay.
Yeah. So tell us about video shoots. So I'm wondering, do you plan another video shoot? Because I read somewhere on your page or on IGNEA there was a planned video session.
Yeah, and well, it's like this information is for patrons only so far. I cannot disclose it right now. I just can say that it's going to be filmed. If everything is all right, it's going to be filmed in September. So, and everything, like a lot of production, like preparations are in process. So I cannot really say until we figure everything out until the end. But I mean, we didn't plan to shoot anything, but again, we're stuck in this pandemic and we should be touring right now, and we should have been touring in summer and in autumn. And our plan was to actually record some live footages and then make them, you know, a couple of other videos for IGNEA, but it didn't happen. And we really cannot afford ourselves to keep silence because like
Yeah.
the market is really oversaturated, and if we keep silence after the release of our album, then everybody will forget about us. That's why like we're trying to do something else while we're stuck at home.
So it will be The Realms of Fire. That will be from that album, right?
Yes. So those won't be new songs, but we are already working on new songs. I don't know when they are going to be out.
So if anyone is curious, join Patreon and you'll find the answer there.
Yeah, it's just, you know, patrons are always the first to find out about everything, and they are also the most understanding people because like they are the closest listeners, and sometimes we share our plans, but sometimes our plans are not, you know, are not coming to life. And if we share them publicly everywhere and then they don't happen, then, you know, it's like that we're not keeping our word, but sometimes things are not dependable on us, you know, just like this pandemic is.
So as you mentioned, Helle, about the Alga, what is the meaning of Alga?
It means forward or off we go. So it's like a battle cry, something like that.
Okay. So I don't know if they told you before this. When I heard this the first time, the Alga, my mind went directly to Spider-Man thing.
Why? Really? I don't know why, but
Because the first you know, the intro with the symphonic.
mhm.
Yes, when my mind went there, would be very easily like a theme of Marvel movie.
It's one of my dreams that maybe someday part of our music is going to be in some movies, because a lot of people are saying that, you know, there are some parts of our songs that are very soundtrack-like,
Yeah.
and I agree. And we also have like, you know, some music that doesn't have growls, which is actually usually not suitable for, you know, movies or something like that. So I hope that
But
maybe.
this symphonic part was really, check if you want later, the theme of Spider-Man.
Okay, I will check it out. Yeah.
Yeah. It was very good. So as we talk about the Marvel, you follow Marvel movies? You like any?
Yeah, sometimes I'm not, you know, I'm not a nerd when it comes to all these, you know, superheroes, but I'm very open-minded and I watch it like, you know, for fun.
You don't have any superhero favorite?
Sorry?
Any superhero favorite?
Favorite?
Yeah.
Iron Man. Because he's closer, you know, to being a human than anyone else.
Okay.
So I don't like too much, you know, fiction. So he's great. But again, like I don't have like superheroes that I don't like or something like that, because I have a lot of, you know, geeky friends who are always fighting like Marvel, DC, no, like blah blah blah, and I'm like, chill out, guys, everything is fine.
Stuff. So, Alga?
Oh, here we are. Oh, okay, I'm back. Hey, so IGNEA is the first band. Well, it's the first band we heard about from Ukraine. So can you ask more about the metal scene there?
Well, it's a complicated thing because in Ukraine, metal is totally underground, I'd say. And we have a lot of good bands, metal bands, but most of them, they don't go out of the underground because it's not really supported by the crowds here in Ukraine. And how to say, I guess that only a few years ago there were like more Ukrainian bands started touring Europe and maybe getting known outside. And but like Ukraine has a lot of good artists. They're just not in the metal genre. And like I said, I'm really open-minded and I don't listen to metal only. And we really have a lot of great, for example, electronic pop artists like Onuka and Hard Keys. And I mean, there are a lot of them. And they have such a great level, like, you know, of writing music, they have huge production, and it's fascinating to see their shows. So, I mean, it's just, I also found out that, for example, you know, there are not so many metal bands coming from Spain, for example, well-known bands. Well, I mean, really, there are a lot of metalheads out there. We played Spain a couple of times. It was wonderful, and the crowd is wonderful. But I really don't know any, like a lot of well-known bands from Spain.
No idea.
You see, so I mean, it's not very, like for us, I guess that 95% of people listening to us, they're not based in Ukraine. So, but we don't see any problem with that. And actually, the last time we performed in Ukraine, it was last year at one of the festivals. And the last time we performed in the capital of Ukraine, like in our own town, was 2017.
Amazing. And was it packed? That?
Sorry?
Or was it packed? A lot of people when you played in Ukraine?
We were playing like it was a lineup of different bands, so it was really packed and it was great. And I know that people are asking us all the time, like when you're going to play in Ukraine, but we were supposed to do it this year, but because of the virus, I just I don't think that it's a good idea to plan anything right now, even though there are some shows happening in Ukraine, but they are mostly open air and, you know, these are distance shows. But the problem is, for example, over the past few weeks, we had a lot more cases of this COVID showing up. And that's why there is a very high possibility that these shows, even open airs, will be closed in a week. That's why I don't see any reason of planning some shows right now.
Yeah, like you mentioned, it's better to go for something that you can deliver, like video shoot or something like that.
Yes. And it's like also you have to understand, like whenever you're making a concert, there are a lot of people involved, and it's not only the band, it's also like maybe sound engineer. I mean, when you're doing it in your own country, you want to make it with more production because you don't have to carry it with you on tour. You want to do it, you want to build everything. And when a lot of people are dependable on the pandemic, I mean, I don't think that we're going to plan anything right now. We'll wait.
For this year, I think.
I guess so, yes. That's why, like, I thought that it's better to concentrate on some other things. That's why I've been thinking of, like, shooting other videos with IGNEA. We are already working on some new songs. I don't know, maybe we will release them as singles next year. So we'll see. I also started a YouTube channel. So everything that you can do sitting at home, I'm doing right now.
It's good to keep you, keep you happy, motivated, take all the stress of the COVID. Good stuff.
Absolutely.
So, as you mentioned before, your fan base, you have a big fan base in Australia.
I cannot say that it's big in Australia, but for some reason over the past half a year, it was growing all the time, and I'm very glad about that.
Where else? Do you know where else you have the most fans?
Well, again, because I'm a marketing girl, I always look at the numbers and all the stats, and I always track them.
Mm-hmm.
I guess 40% is based in the United States, but it's very common for a lot of bands from Europe.
Yeah.
Then, if we take Europe, then the top countries are Germany and Finland. Then it's the United Kingdom. Then on the same level, it's like Netherlands, France, Belgium, Austria, Switzerland. So all these, like, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So it's mostly like this. Out of the south, Portugal. So I mean, we have listeners all over the world, and I even have like I have a map, a huge map on my wall. You could see it yesterday on the test. And I have like pinned countries and places where we send our merch. And it's really the whole world, because we also have New Zealand and South Korea and Japan, and like everything is covered. But again, like United States and Europe are the top regions.
Nice.
Interesting. As we are talking about countries and so on, you were also in the Netherlands, and well, I was there. So you supported Cobra and Lotus plus Butter Babies. Mm-hmm. So I'm wondering, how did you end up with this tour, and how did it felt to open for these two big bands?
We have a booking agency, just like maybe any touring band has, and they were organizing this tour, and this is how we ended up supporting these bands. And it was our biggest tour so far, and I guess that we were very nervous before this tour, but since